A lot of people don't like the taste of beer. And this reminds me of something what the British Prime Minister Winston Churchill once said. And I quote: most people hate the taste of beer to begin with. It is, however, just a prejudice. Stop quote. The guy had some strong opinions on beer, right? Anyways, next time you go to a craft brewery, just check their menu. The entire craft beer brewing scene is dominated by a lot of hoppy and fruity IPAs, various types of stouts, blonde ales, sour ales, porter, and the list goes on. But all of these are classified under a bigger umbrella of ales. The other category of beer, which is fundamentally different from all these ales and also has a huge market share, is lager. So your Coors Light, Corona, Heineken, Budweiser, Bud Light, Kingfisher from back in India, and most of the lighter, crispier beer are typically lagers. So how come craft breweries have mostly ales on their menu while big giant breweries have some pretty famous lagers? Interesting, right? Welcome to Books and Brew, and I'm your host Mayur Ghadge. And in today's episode, we are going to talk about lagers and various aspects of it. We will look into some basics of brewing lager, its history, different types of lagers, and also how should we have them. Lagers are one of the world's most popular beer styles. They are easy to drink, life of the party, and are used mostly in drinking games. Their characteristically crisp and cleaner profile is a result of low temperature and slow bottom fermentation process that it's used. So by slow bottom fermentation process, what I mean is that this process is used using a yeast strain that works slow at lower temperatures from 5 to 10 degrees centigrade or from 40 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So unlike ales, which can be brewed at room temperature or higher temperatures, lagers need good temperature control at lower scales. And probably that is the reason why you don't see a lot of craft brewers or home brewers brewing lagers as much as they do with ales. So this lower temperature causes the lager yeast strain to work less vigorously and create carbon dioxide much slowly. This results in less turbulence in the beer and it suppresses the growth of esters. So these esters are basically responsible for the fruity, spicy and the strong flavors that we see in ales. Do check out episode number 3 where I talk about details of different types of IPAs and the different flavors you get in them, and episode number 5 where I touch upon different types of stouts and what makes them different from other types of beer. So, long story short, lagers don't have a characteristic flavors like ales do due to the yeast strain used and also the low temperature fermentation process. And there are a lot of different yeasts that can be used to make lagers. Some are temperature sensitive while others are not. So you can even get some decent lager by using some specific yeast strain at even 60 degrees Fahrenheit. This lager yeast strain continues to be active at lower temperatures. So even after the fermentation process, when the lagers are stored in cold conditions, it further suppresses its flavors, rounds it off, and makes it even crispier and cleaner. This process of conditioning post fermentation is called lagering phase. So this phase can range from as short as like let's say few weeks to up to 6 months depending on the type of lager. And that's why lagers take longer to age compared to ales which are fermented with yeast at higher temperatures and that results in faster aging. Just a fun fact here, the origin of the word lager is from a German word lager, which means storehouse. And because this type of beer, which originated from the Bavaria region of Germany, was fermented in cold temperatures and then stored for a longer time, again in cold temperatures. So that's where the word lager comes from. The average alcohol content in lager is about 4%, but you can still find stronger lagers with about 14% of alcohol content. But typically, lagers are lighter beer. I know there is some misconception that lagers are light in color too, but that's not necessarily true. You can find darker lagers, and the color is typically governed by the malts used. So, if you use some toasted malts, you can actually get darker lagers as well. So, the next thing I want to talk about is when do you drink lagers and how. You can drink lager on a hot day after your run to get hydrated. By the way, just joking. but they can be used as a replacement for water because of the lack of taste and the very low alcohol content. And Bud Light is very famous for that. Again, I'm just kidding. On a serious note, you can mix lagers with lemonade to make lemon shandy, and this is probably the best way to have lagers. You can mix lagers with grapefruit juice to make grapefruit shandy. And as a matter of fact, you can mix lager with any citrus fruit juice to get that flavored shandy. You can top it off with fresh basil or ginger syrup to make it more quirky. And I generally agree with the opinion that lagers are pretty one dimensional in the character and taste, but still there are a lot of different lagers around the world. The American lager is the most popular one, and the others can be like Pilsners, German lager, Dunkel, Bock, Vienna lager, or the American Pilsner. These are the more famous ones that you typically find. Recently, I've come across some craft breweries who are adding a lot of hops into their lager brewing process, and this is much like IPA style brewing that adds a new dimension to the otherwise quote unquote boring lagers. Some other innovations in the lager brewing industry is using pressurized brewing at room temperatures. This pressurized brewing has the same effect of suppressing the esters and the flavors in the beer, which was initially done using cold temperature brewing. So I see the lager brewing industry is upping their game in craft breweries, but it still lags far behind ales. Let's see when they catch up with the ales. And until they do, let me know how you like this episode and if you have any recommendations of any specific brewing aspect that you would like me to discuss. My email ID is booksandbrewpodcast@gmail.com. For more such episodes on books and beer, subscribe to the show on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, my YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to your podcast from. Please do like and rate this show on whichever platform you're listening to. Until next episode, spread the word, I was going to say keep drinking, but that's not what I want you to do. So spread the word, happy listening, and happy holidays. Music for this episode is given by Rahul Thombre.